is the monthly SGX3 webinar, the Center of Excellence for Science Gateways. I'm Sandra Gesing. I'm the director of the Center of Excellence for Science Gateways and a researcher at the San Diego Supercomputer Center. And this series is around science gateways, around related technologies, different concepts. And today we are very happy to have Julie Ma on from Open OnDemand, a long-term collaborator of SGX3. And without further introduction, I will give it to Julie.
Everyone, I'm going to try and share my whole screen. Hopefully this is going to work because I want to alternate between two screens. So let me see if this works. Desktop. Okay, oops. And then let me put this in present mode. All right.
Good.
You're seeing it? Yay, good. Always happy when that actually works. All right, as Sandra said, my name is Julie Ma. I work for the Massachusetts Green High Performance Computing Center, and I'm a co-principal investigator on the Open OnDemand project. We're really happy to be here. As Sandra said, we are long-term collaborators with SGX3, and we just wanted to give you an update on Open OnDemand and fill you in on some recent news. So it's always helpful to me to get an idea of who is going to be, who I'm talking to. So, well, first of all, just a quick agenda. I'll talk a little bit about Open OnDemand, some recent technical updates, key items of note, and then an open floor discussion. But as I was saying, it has often very helpful to me to get an idea of who's here. So if you could all take a moment to go to menti.com and enter the code on the screen here or use this QR code and just answer a few really quick questions, I'd really appreciate it. And now I'm going to switch to my other screen, which will hopefully be right here, to the Mentimeter, and move my Zoom window and go into present mode. All right, again, that's the QR code. And first of all, what is your primary role at your institution? I'm hoping to get an idea of, which way to kind of adjust my comments. So thank you so much for responding. It's always really helpful. Anybody else? Okay, well, that gives me a pretty good idea. A couple of something else's. I might ask you guys what your something else's are. Maybe you can just put them in the chat if you feel motivated to do so. All right, and then what is the experience level that you have with Open OnDemand? Okay, super helpful. Thank you all so much for taking the time to do that. Now I will escape out of here and go back to my main presentation. Present mode. Sorry, go here. All right, so since we had quite a few folks that are new to Open OnDemand, I wanted to talk a little bit about what it is. It's a web portal that makes access to supercomputers much easier by making it possible to access your resource from the web and from anywhere on any device. From a user point of view, there's zero installation. You just go to the website of the on-demand instance and you just start working. It's very easy to use, it's very intuitive, and it's compatible with any device. And it's usually easiest to illustrate this with this video, starring my collaborator and the PI of the Open OnDemand project, Alan Chalker. So as I said, you can use Open OnDemand from any device. So of course, your laptop, you can manage your jobs and access from there. You can access from your phone, from the browser on your phone. You can also access from a tablet. so far, so good, pretty vanilla, expected kind of devices. But you can also, your gaming console has a web browser. You can manage your jobs from your gaming console. You can also, if you're Alan, manage it from your Tesla. And you can even manage it from a virtual reality device that has a web browser. So the point is that if you have a web browser, you can access your supercomputing resources from that browser. And that is pretty much the beauty of Open OnDemand. Open OnDemand is also available on all of the major commercial cloud vendors here in the US. And it's also available from almost all of the NSF Access resources. For those of you that are not familiar, Access is a program that makes large machines that have been funded primarily from the National Science Foundation available to researchers everywhere in the country. And so it is very helpful that we have Open OnDemand available, because many of the researchers that are using Access resources have never worked on such a large computer before. And so taking away the scariness of SSH and Linux and other things makes it easier for them to just make use of these resources to move their research forward. Similarly, on the NAIR pilot, the National Artificial Intelligence Research Resource Pilot, which Sandra is very familiar with, there are a wide variety of resources that have been contributed for this pilot, again, to make research computing resources more readily available to researchers that are doing using AI for their research. And if you look at this list, Open OnDemand is available on almost every resource that is available from NAIR. What this means is that there's a familiar environment for researchers, regardless of what kind of devices they're using, whether they're campus resources or resources that are available at a national scale. From a system administrator's point of view, it's really beneficial to install Open OnDemand on your resources. It takes some work to install Open OnDemand, but once you have it installed, it creates this incredibly low barrier to entry for your researchers and your community to use the resources that you have available. Open OnDemand is an open source free product, so it is available for anybody to use, and it's very important to us to keep it open source and also to encourage people in the community that are using it to feel welcome to contribute to the code. It's a true open source project, and it's very configurable and very flexible, as you will see in some of the later examples that where it's being used. Open OnDemand is deployed worldwide. We stopped counting exact numbers when we got over 1,500, I think, but right now we're at somewhere above 2,100 organizations in 100 countries, and this map gives you a representation of where we're at. Some examples of deployments, you can see that it's at private institutions, public institutions, it's at nonprofits, it's in industry, it's in minority serving institutions, it's being used in many government entities, and it's being used internationally. So this is just a smattering of the deployments that we have. We have a web page where we post the URLs and the logos of any institution that wants to share with us that they are using Open OnDemand. And I believe it's accessible from the bottom right-hand corner of this slide. There's also a broad variety of resources or of utilities and apps that have been enabled for on Open OnDemand. It's a growing list, and actually later in this talk, I'll be talking about a new effort that we have going on, which will help to categorize these and make them more readily available to make the recipe for using them more readily available to the community. But you can see a lot of the usual suspects are available already on this slide. The impact of all of this is, of course, faster time to science. And in 2017, the Open OnDemand team, which Open OnDemand is developed at the Ohio Supercomputer Center. That's where the core development has happened. And it's also used by the Ohio Supercomputer Center to serve thousands of researchers at Ohio State that use the supercomputer. And not just Ohio State, but all throughout Ohio. And so in 2017, they did some measuring to find that they were finding about 20 hours fewer between the first login and the first job submitted when using Open OnDemand, and 76 hours between account creation and first login. So just the multiplier was considerable already back in 2017. In 2021, Idaho National Labs did an even more robust study, and they found in average it was 19 times faster times to science when researchers made use of the Open OnDemand platform. And this has also made it possible at OSC, and I think worldwide, for many other types of researchers to make use of the supercomputers. Traditionally, large computing resources are used by physicists, biologists, people that really already knew how to use computers really well. And Open OnDemand in its by simplifying the interface to these resources has made it possible at OSC in just 5 years, and this data is actually from 2023, to almost double the number of fields of science that were able to make use of their supercomputing resources. And they're not even just fields of science, it's also the digital humanities, artists, economists. So it's a really broad range of additional fields, both in the social sciences, medical health, everything that we're able to make use of the OSC resources with the use of Open OnDemand. So switching gears a little bit, we have a support model. It's an open source platform, but we know that it's still, people still need help to actually make use of the platform and also just to provide feedback to us. So we have 4 vehicles for communicating with the community today. We have a discourse site, which is very active. It's monitored by our developers, and it's a really great place for people to submit questions, whether they be, installation questions or how to install or work with a particular app or particular authentication. There's a broad variety of topics that are covered on the discourse already. It's a great resource for people that are using Open OnDemand. We also have documentation in our GitHub repo as well as the code. And in fact, we really welcome contributions to both the code and the documentation through GitHub. We also have a Slack workspace where people can communicate with us. And we do have a constant contact newsletter, which I encourage everyone to sign up for if you want to get updates about Open OnDemand, new releases, when we have various community calls that I'll be talking about in a moment, any noteworthy new publications, all of that goes out over our constant contact newsletter. So that's basically a summary of the free support that we have available now. As I mentioned, we have a couple of community events that happen every month. We have a tips and tricks call, and that's actually organized by the community. It's organized by Martin Kuma at University of Utah right now. And it's an opportunity for the community to share tips and tricks about how they're using Open OnDemand. So we have a broad range of talks that get presented there. We get new types of instrumentation, we get new apps, we get interesting new ways to use Open OnDemand, best practices. So it's a broad range of topics that are covered in this monthly call. It's on the first Thursday of every month at 1 p.m. where we also have office hours that are actually hosted by our dev team, and several of our developers and several members of the leadership team of Open OnDemand come to these office hours once a month again. They're held on the second Tuesday of every month at a kind of odd time frame, but that's so that we try to make time available that covers several hour, several hours in the day, so people can come at times that are convenient for them between meetings. And it's always a really interesting discussion. We're going to be using office hours in addition to develop our affinity groups that I'll be talking about later in the talk. We're going to be introducing Asia Pacific and also European versions of these calls starting in the second half of 2025. So right now we do get European colleagues showing up fairly often for these calls. It's pretty hard for our Asian colleagues to show up because this is literally in the middle of the night for them. And so we have partners that are actually even in in Japan, we've already started the tips and tricks call in Japan, and we're going to be starting the European one shortly. We recently introduced a new support model, which is a paid support model. So it's an open source platform, but we are offering a paid support subscription, which gives people an additional level of support if they need it. And it basically is a membership that you pay for that gives you access to our a priority discourse channel, a priority GitHub, where in GitHub, we prompt that you get priority in the triage of tickets. We can't guarantee that tickets will be resolved by, first come, first serve on the priority discourse, on the priority GitHub, simply because sometimes issues take time to resolve, but they will be prioritized in terms of the triage. We also offer access to our staff through the membership. And basically what the membership gives you is the ability to then sign up for one-on-one office hours with our support team, which is made up of our developers and some other folks that can basically provide one-on-one coaching when it's needed for a team. This is actually incredibly helpful if you're just starting out with Open OnDemand to ensure that you're utilizing best practices and setting up your Open OnDemand instance, and also to overcome any kind of oddities that you might encounter based on the collection of schedulers, hardware, and software that are available at your site. And so the support subscription, we've been piloting it in a variety of ways for the past 9 months at this point. And we're really excited about the opportunity that it provides to the community. And it also gives us an opportunity to create a sustainable funding model for Open OnDemand. Open OnDemand has been funded for quite some time by the NSF. I have a slide about that later. But having a way for the community to contribute to the sustainability in relatively manageable bite-sized chunks that will help us overall is another reason that we're introducing this pilot support subscription at this time. So the pilot is going now. It's going to go through 2025, and then we may adjust things based on what we learn. So please contact me if you're interested in this. So that's kind of an overview of Open OnDemand. Now just a few technical updates and some items of interest in our technical process. First of all, we released 4.0 earlier this year, and we're in the process of building this open source ecosystem. And I'll talk more about this in a moment, but a really key role for the Open OnDemand project, for those of you that had mentioned that you are familiar with Open OnDemand, is that we've added a new role, which is our Developer Relations Program Manager. And this is a person that sits, her name is Emily Moffat-Sadeghi. She's amazing. And she sits between our development team and the community and helps to manage the process of GitHub issues coming in, being resolved, and also just increasing the engagement that we have with the community of developers and system administrators that want to contribute back to Open OnDemand. And she's put in place a few really key mechanisms for doing that. I did want to just quickly note some of the key features in 4.0. First of all, global batch connect items are now in the ondemand.d files. It's all in one place now. We also added the ability to have dismissible and required announcements. So certain announcements right now, if you post them, they stay up until you make them go away, and as a sysadmin. And now there's an ability for users to dismiss them on their own time. And basically for the sysadmins to configure whether an alert is one that people have to see or whether they can see it and then dismiss it. There's also a system status page, which is really cool, has cluster status and details. And we've also updated the file editor. But what I was mentioning a moment ago is just this new planning process that Emily has put in place to basically identify, prioritize, execute, and release new features. And it's funny to say for a 10-year-old project, but even though this was happening kind of in an ad hoc way, she's really put in place some mechanisms to make this a lot more accessible to the community and really put the process in place. So we're very excited about this. It creates a much more manageable way for the community to know what's going on with Open OnDemand and for us to be able to respond effectively to input that we get from the community. We wanted to also note that in terms of prioritizing issues, of course, first and foremost, if it's a security issue, that always gets the highest priority. We develop patches and release them as quickly as possible for things that have been identified as security issues. Secondly, bugs, if they were getting unexpected, unintended, or just incorrect behaviors, we will also try and address those in as quickly as possible. And then finally, new features come last because the other two are a little bit more time sensitive in terms of impacting the operation at sites that are using our software. So this is just a quick summary of how we prioritize our issues. And I think that's what I had for the technical update. And finally, I wanted to talk about several new initiatives and some news that has come out from the OnDemand project recently. So I just this is just a summary of the funding that that we have received from NSF for the Open OnDemand project since its inception back in June 2015. So Open OnDemand, the first Open OnDemand instance was actually taking software that had already been developed at OSC and making it more general purpose and creating this Open OnDemand platform. Then we got Open OnDemand 2.0, which finished last year. We're participating in the Match project, the Access Support project, and we received the All Good project, which is really focused on All Good funding, which is really focused on the long-term sustainability of the OnDemand project and building an ecosystem to be able to support some of the things that I've talked about earlier and really creating an ecosystem. And that's where a lot of the work that Emily's been doing and some of the work that we've been doing to improve documentation and ability to engage with the community has all come out of the All Good program, as well as a governance model that we're in the process of developing. And finally, we just received late last year the Good Luck project, which I'm going to talk more about in a moment. So Good Luck stands for Growing Open OnDemand, Leveraging Unified Community Knowledge. And the emphasis here is on community knowledge. There, as I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, we have over 2,000 instances of Open OnDemand that we know about out in the world. And we know that there's a tremendous amount of knowledge that has been developed by the community. And this is incredibly important just because of where Open OnDemand sits. We have a great test bed. I don't even want to call it a test bed. We have a great community with OSC where we can test what we can test at OSC because we have, we have a particular hardware configuration, we have particular operating systems, we use particular schedulers. And so we have a very robust understanding of how Open OnDemand works in our environment. But we know that basically every computer site is a little bit different. And so being able to, but there a somewhat finite number of ways that various types of authentication, hardware, operating system, and schedulers can be put together. But being able to collect information from the community about how they make Open On-Demand work, and also various tools that they use to monitor what those sites, the traffic at those sites and how their users are being using the resources, is incredibly powerful, because there's so much great knowledge out there. So Good Luck is all about harnessing that community knowledge and organizing it and then making it available to the broader community. So just going around the Shamrock. As I mentioned earlier in the presentation, there's, we know already of, hundreds of apps that are out there that people are using, but we know that there are thousands of apps that are actually out there. And so our colleagues at Texas A&M are creating an appverse for Open On-Demand, where we're trying to harness that broad collection of apps, organize them, and make them more readily available and known and available to the community. That's a big effort that's happening at Texas A&M as part of the Good Luck Project. Secondly, we know that for certain domains of science, that there are very custom interfaces being built. And so we have a whole focus at University of Maryland on building on identifying workflows and interfaces for particular domains of science. So some that we have identified right off the bat are remote instrumentation, digital art, rotorcraft. And those our colleagues at University of Maryland are similarly trying to put together these custom interfaces, and again make the configuration and the look and feel available to the broader community. So that again is being led by Alan Sussman over at University of Maryland. Third, going around the Shamrock, we are also developing classroom guides with a similar philosophy. Many institutions are using Open On-Demand to provide classroom support, because it provides a way for the instructors to make real life supercomputing resources available to their students, but put guardrails in place so that they can't do major damage to the community that is also sharing that resource. And so there are many techniques that have been developed that use Open On-Demand and create these wonderful classroom environments that that instructors just really appreciate. And we want to collect the best practices of that and provide classroom guides. And that effort is actually being led by Karen Tomko at Ohio Supercomputer Center. And finally, we want to create opportunities for the community to gather and where they have common affinity groups. And so we're introducing a way for the community to organize itself into affinity groups. And that's actually being led by my team at MGHPCC. I'll just talk a little bit more about that, because for the folks that are on the call that are interested, we'd love to invite you to participate. So we recently introduced a new community portal. It's built on technology called ConnectCI that has been under development at MGHPCC for about 7 or 8 years now. And it's basically a community management portal that provides technology to make it easy to organize and manage your community. ConnectCI is actually being used by a variety of programs, including the Campus Champions, Access Support, a variety of cyber teams, which is where it started, as well as the Cyber Infrastructure Community-Wide Mentorship Network, CCMNet. And basically, the way that the community portal is being used by Open On-Demand is to create affinity groups where members can meet, gather, have opportunities for communication, for creating a central repository of documentation, code samples, etc., through our knowledge base, and also just be able to find each other and post new ideas for affinity groups based on common interests that might emerge for the community that is using Open On-Demand. And the affinity groups are very flexible. They can be used to support a short-term issue or a long-term issue. And on my next slide, at our most recent Good conference, we introduced the affinity groups and we asked the community to come up with ideas of what would be useful affinity groups. And this is just a sampling, but these are the ones that got the most votes. And we are going to be rolling these out over the next few months. But you can see that there's just a broad range of ways that you can use an affinity group. There's security best practices, of course, always foremost on many people's minds, job stats, new user training, LLMs, of course, customizing the front end, the back end. And we even have a Spanish-speaking Open On-Demand users affinity group that is going to be launched shortly. And so to launch an affinity group, you really just need somebody who is willing to be the coordinator for the affinity group. It's a very low lift. Basically, the affinity group coordinator decides what events and what knowledge-based resources will show up on their particular page, and decides what mechanisms are going to be used to communicate with the community. So affinity groups offer Slack spaces, email lists, ability to broadcast, and those are the things that the affinity group coordinator looks at. But once you have it set up, it's a pretty low lift to keep it going. So we're going to be using our office hours as an opportunity to bring our affinity groups up to speed, our affinity group coordinators up to speed, and to begin to get the affinity groups going. So if anybody is interested in participating in such an activity, again, please contact me. Switching gears a little bit, I just wanted to point out some interesting recent news that has come out about Open On Demand. This is published on our website, and it's just our PR PR team at OSC is incredibly helpful and resourceful in writing great case studies, and also just getting good news about Open On Demand and making it, and collecting it and making it available to the community on our website. And also just wanted to point out at SC last year, Open On Demand was named as the Reader's Choice for top 5 new technologies to watch, which we were really excited about. As I mentioned, we've recently published a variety of new case studies on our website. I'm not going to go in a lot of detail about them, but I am just going to mention them because I just think it's such a broad range. And at our recent Good conference, we also came up with dozens of other case studies. But these case studies are great. They're not super long. They're just one-pagers, but they describe ways that supercomputers are being used via Open On Demand to solve all kinds of scientific and in some cases non-scientific issues. So anthrax infected zebras is one of the most recent stories, and it's really fascinating. We also had a really great case study on a remote instrumentation project that was being done at the led by the Ecosystem for Research Networking. It was basically managing a cryo-EM device and managing the workflow, all from a single pane of glass that was basically the Open On Demand. And it's a really fascinating case study. At Open On Demand, NASCAR used resources that were accessible through Open On Demand to improve the comfort in a race car recently. NASCAR is one of a long-term Open On Demand collaborator and partner, and it's just kind of fun to see this going out into, just the general public in this way. As I mentioned a couple of times, we've been able to make just great strides in bringing supercomputing resources to art students at Ohio State. And, with many of the rendering techniques and the simulations that artists use these days, being able to have access to really large-scale computing has enabled incredible art. the OSC team recently installed a new supercomputer called Cardinal, and all the end cap art was actually generated using the methods that were developed through this digital arts program. So this is a really nice case study about something outside of the norm that is now becoming the norm through Open OnDemand. We have great case studies on classroom computing. As I mentioned, this is going to be a huge focus for us through Karen Tomko's effort, and good luck. But there is a nice case study about how it's being used at OSC today. Open OnDemand is also being used internationally. The Finnish PTT is CSC Finland is using Open OnDemand on all of their supercomputers to both internally and for their clients. All of this would not be possible without contributions from the community. This is just a smattering of folks that have contributed in a major way to the Open OnDemand code base in the last year. We're hoping to build this considerably, and I'll talk a little bit more about how we're going to do that in a moment. We also are collaborating with a variety of companies to make their platforms more available through Open OnDemand, or to collaborate in terms of providing service. In the case of Do IT Now, which is a big HPC services entity in Europe. And then, of course, through Microsoft, AWS, and large companies like those, as well as small companies like OnDemand. Again, these collaborations are instrumental in our ability to continue to move the on-demand platform forward. We recently had our first conference. I mentioned it a moment ago. Our inaugural GOOD conference, the Global Open OnDemand Conference. This is something we are planning to do annually, at least through the next 5 years, as part of our Good Luck Award. But we were really grateful to have the opportunity to have our inaugural conference at Harvard last March. We were so happy with the outcome. We had over 50 talks presented, and we had BOFs, we had tutorials, we had almost 200 people there, and we really just had a wonderful 4 days of meeting the community live and having a focused effort, a focused discussion just about Open OnDemand and how it's being used in such a broad variety of places. And it was really great, and we're looking for a good venue, hopefully on the West Coast, for next year's GOOD conference, which will again take place in March. One of the outcomes of our GOOD conference was the organization of documentation and resources to be able to contribute effectively to the Open OnDemand project. So on the Monday of GOOD, we had something called the Contributor Jam, which was we were just amazed by the number of people that participated. We were expecting maybe we would have 10 or 15 people, and we had a conference room that was supposed to seat 70, and we had basically standing room only, with chairs lined up against the back of the wall of people that wanted to learn how to contribute to Open OnDemand, and it was fabulous. And of course, contributing to Open OnDemand is incredibly beneficial to our project. It expands our reach, it gives us an opportunity to collaborate, and it's also a way to build skills and just learn how to really code in Ruby on Rails, which is what most of Open OnDemand is implemented in. And we created a brand new page on our website called, which you can get to by the shortcut on the bottom right-hand side of the screen, openondemand.org/contribute. It's also available on the left side of our on the webpage and in the main menu. But there it has documentation and resources to contribute both code and documentation to the Open OnDemand project. And we've been told on many occasions that our documentation could use some work. And this is an opportunity for the community to help with that. And so whether it's code or documentation, we really welcome your contributions. And again, if you're interested in learning more, check out this page and then, or contact me. So these are just a few shots from the Good Conference. It was really a fun and highly energetic crowd of people. Sandra was there, and we really had a wonderful 4 days with the community. Also just wanted to quickly plug for people that are on-demand fans already. We have a branded merchandise that you can basically buy one-offs of at this site. And so you can put the on-demand logo on anything that you want to carry around or wear. And so that's basically the update of what's been going on with the Open On-Demand project. Please sign up for our mailing list so that we can find you in the future, and just open it up for questions now. Thank you all so much. Oops, shoot. That's it. I'll stop sharing. Okay. Let's see what's in the chat. Oh, thank you, Mohammed. All right. Any questions? Thoughts?
Hello, Julie. Yes.
Hi.
Can I ask you this like personally, not in the chat? Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. It was really interesting because I'm quite new here. I was impressed. So many stuff, happens. Thank you so much. Julie, I'm from University of Kentucky. So actually, I have not seen my university in the list. Maybe can I write you how can we join such kind of initiative,
Yeah, so I know that University of Kentucky does have an on-demand instance, so I can put you in touch with the person that is managing that. But we would love to have you join our newsletter and join our community in any way that you're interested in. So
I'd like to. I have new course for my students, and for sure it would be so great to combine all this capacity you're providing and my own course. This is so interesting. I have already several thoughts,
yeah, so I really highly recommend that you read the classroom case study as well to see how other people are setting up classroom environments, and and of course contact us if you have any questions. But I will put you in touch with your colleague at UK that I know is involved with Open On Demand. So
yeah. Thank you so much. Yes, thank you.
Too. Any other questions today? Okay, well, thank you all so much for your time, and we feel free again to contact me. I'll put my email in the chat as well. I'm putting my MGHPCC one as well as which also works. It goes to the same place as my on-demand one. So please feel free to contact me if you have any other questions. Janae, I'll turn it back to you now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Julie. That was a fantastic presentation, and we really appreciate you for joining us this month. And everyone else, thank you also for your time, and we will see you next month for our next webinar.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
Julie.